Good morning, YouTube family. Good afternoon and good evening, wherever you might be. Welcome to Happy Crappy Hour, our weekly live stream here on Escape from Crazytown. So, I'm going to give you guys all a few minutes to get on, and hopefully you'll be coming on. And happy July 4th, by the way, to all my friends here in the US. This is so exciting. I'm hoping that you're going to be um, having a good time today and enjoying some barbecue and some fireworks later on. This is going to be a really good day for for most people, right? Some people have to work today, but mostly a lot of people get the day off. So I hope you're here joining me for this, and happy July 4th to you. Let's get started on some happies and crappies. The reason this is called Happy Crappy Hour is because we talk about what went well this week and what didn't go well this week. And we learn from both, right? We learn about what went well and we want to continue to do that. And we learn from what didn't go well and we want to stop doing those things, right? Or, maybe we learn from it already. So things are going to go great for us. Well, you guys, let me see. For some reason, oh, okay, you guys, I'm just trying to get my settings straight here because something is not working quite right. And I'm hoping I have my settings on. Okay, I think I do. So, you guys, let me start with happies. I'm going to share with you my happy this week. This week, I finally got to go kayaking. Woohoo! So that was a really good thing. And the reason for that is because, for me, you gotta tap into what brings you life. And what brings me life is being in the outdoors and doing things and soaking in the sun and enjoying, just fresh air. Good morning, Jihad. Good to see you. So glad to see you here. Yay! um, it might be just you and I this morning for a while, huh? But so I'm sharing what my happy was this week as people are getting on. And it was being able to go out and enjoy myself for a while and just float around on the lake. And the water was so cool and refreshing. It was wonderful. So that just brings me life. And sometimes, you just got to refuel. And that's my happy. My happy was to be able to go out and refuel in the way that's so life giving to me. What was your happy this week? Oh, hi, agriculturist. Good to see you. I'm so glad you're here too. Yay. And John, good morning. Yay. Good to see you guys. So, yeah, today's topic is, it occurred to me this week that there were times when I was feeling really great and I was thinking, wow, why was I feeling so great? And it was because I got this flood of hope. And why did I get that flood of hope? I'll share with you that in a little bit. Because the topic today is what happened to our hope and how do we get it back after the narcissist? Because as you know, when we spend time with a toxic person or have had toxic people in our life, they just rob us of hope. And when they leave us, it leaves us feeling abandoned, abused, and alone and isolated. And it's really easy to feel hopeless in those moments. So Jihad says, let me go back here, you guys, says, I was able to go fishing, woohoo, with my kids and a friend. The kids had fun catching fish. Ah, cool. John says, you're not going to believe this. She contacted me yesterday, checking on me, saying, I haven't heard from you. Yikes. Well, I kind of do believe it, right? So, yeah, right? So, exactly. That she's probably feeling lonely right now. So, she's needing a crutch. She's needing somebody to fill this emptiness inside of her or someone to cheer her on or pet her ego. So she's coming to you to see that if you would do that for her. Oh my goodness, John. Jihad says, tell her that's the point. Good. True. Yeah, the reason she hasn't heard from you is that's the whole point of you trying to stay no contact with her. John, it's up to you. If you feel that you can, or I would really encourage you to just go no contact and block her. If you know that she's just so toxic and that she just drains you of life, you don't need that. You need to start um, pulling in people, or or connecting with people who are safe, people who are stronger, people who are emotionally on a maturity track, right? They're maturing, they're getting better, they're improving themselves. And if she's not on that kind of a track, which narcissists and toxic people just are not, they're going to latch on. It's like leeches. They will latch on and suck the blood out of you. It's just horrible because they are so depleted themselves. They'll take whatever they can, and they get pretty desperate too. And that's when we get destroyed, is when they become so desperate that they will thrash about and destroy us in getting the supply that they need. So, John, I would suggest to you, if you can, block her, because if it feels like just darkness comes over you when she contacts you, oh my gosh, you just don't need that. It's so amazing when we go no contact and we don't hear from them. It's like every day we can breathe a little deeper, and we're just so much happier, and we feel this burden lifted from us. And it doesn't come back because we're not reminded on a daily or weekly or monthly basis when they contact us. It's just really so freeing. Agriculturist says, um, John, and she doesn't understand why she didn't hear something, right? Yeah. Um, John says, I've been no contact. She has a man and still reaching out to me. Yeah. So, you might want to block her number. So that means when she tries to text you, it just won't go to you. She won't know it, but you won't care because you won't see it either. And especially when you know she has a man, why in the world is she reaching out to you? There's one reason. And that's because that man is apparently not enough, right? Nobody's ever enough for the narcissist. That comes to me all the time when I start thinking about the narcissists in my life and the people that they're with. I just, I sense it. I know it. I know deep inside that they are not satisfied, because not no one person can satisfy them. So there are times when I think, wow, what would it have been like if I had stayed in relationship with, a couple of the narcissists that I am now out of contact with and have blocked? What would it have been like if I had stayed with them, or had kept them in my life, or allowed them to be in my life? Every day would be so depressing. Every day I'd be reminded of their darkness. Every day that they contact me, or were involved with me in some way, texted me, or got together with me, or, just notified me of what they're doing, it would just bring me darkness. So that's that hope that we lose when we are with the narcissist. It's like they suck the hope out of us. And then we find ourselves completely hopeless at the end of the relationship. And we're wondering, like, how do we get back to hope? Oh my gosh, I have so much to tell you guys about that. But let me catch up with some of you guys who are hopping on here. Chris, good to see you. Um, John says, yeah, they're never satisfied. Envy, good to see you. Praying for the whistleblowers. Yeah. And John says, you could give them the world and it still wouldn't be enough. No, it's not, because they have this jealous streak inside of them that keeps them empty. Because no matter how much they have, they're going to look side to side, they're going to look around, and they're going to wonder why they don't have what somebody else has. And even if they had what somebody else has, they're going to now look at another person and wonder why they don't have what this other person has. It's just incredible. They're very ungrateful, right? We know that. So when you're ungrateful, you're also going to be very unfulfilled, because nothing is going to make you feel content. So Chris says, right, the last narc coming after me is already married. Crazytown for sure. Yeah, right? There's nothing, they're just not satisfied. And I feel like he thinks I am an idiot to be interested in more than a neighborly hello. Wow. Right? They really do. They think that I mean, they're just irrational beings. They don't follow things to the end, like the effect of what or consequences of their actions. They don't think about that. And they certainly don't think about who they're going to affect. You specifically, right? They don't think how it's going to damage you. They don't think of the consequences to you. That's why I think about people who, oh my gosh, I was watching a crime show where this guy, well, actually, it was a woman who writes to people in prison, sadly, right? And she says she has all these different boyfriends in prison. This is how she's met them, right? They were already incarcerated, and she starts writing to them. And they write back to her because they have nothing but time. So they write her these lovely letters that tell her how wonderful she is, how beautiful she is. I guess if she sends them pictures and stuff. And she thinks this is a real relationship. And here's the deal. One of them was coming out of jail, and I guess she says that he had come out of jail a few times, and she would hook up with him each time he'd come out of jail. So the interviewer was asking her, well, why are you so committed to this person, or are you committed to this person? And she's like, yeah, I am. I'm a ride or die kind of girl. And I was like, what? So essentially she's willing to do whatever this um, criminal, because he wanted to, gosh, what was it? He wanted to rob a bank, he was telling her. And the interviewer was asking her, will you do this? And she said, yeah, whatever he wants me to do, I'm going to do because I'm a ride or die kind of girl. And I'm thinking, she says, and he loves me. He writes to me all the time. And each time he comes out of jail, he comes to me. And I'm like, yeah, because he has nowhere else to go. He's using you. And she doesn't realize this, that a person who loves her would not expect her to be a ride or die kind of person. If someone loves you, they will not take you down with them. If someone cares about you, they aren't going to want to risk your incarceration, your freedom. They're not going to want to risk, you getting into trouble. But narcissists and toxic people, people who are desperate, don't care about the consequences to you. So that's why you see them going after married people as well. They don't care if they ruin your marriage. They don't care if they destroy your children's life. They don't care if they destroy your life in the process of using you. And you have to be so careful, John, especially, with your narcissistic ex continuing to contact you while she's with another man. You can see right there that she doesn't care. Like, what if this guy is really jealous and he's the violent type? She doesn't care who she puts into danger so long as she gets satisfied. So be so very careful with that. And that's why I really recommend you block her. So you guys, we're talking about hope, right? Why we lose hope too. We have to protect ourselves. And that's part of why we lose hope, by the way, is because we become very skeptical. We think about people who have hurt us, are those who have abandoned us, hurt us, continue to breadcrumb us, right? I think that's what she's kind of doing with you, John, right now. Is she'll contact you once in a while to let you know, oh, I still care about you, just thinking about you, hoping you're doing okay, as if she cares, right? So you think, especially if you don't have someone in your life right now, saying these things to you, it might feel really good. It might feel really tempting to want to connect with somebody or allow them to talk to you because you want to hear these pretty things. You want to hear positive things and have some attention. But be so careful because the attention you're welcoming in is from a destroyer, from an abuser, from someone who abandons and uses people. So, and they don't care. They don't care. So what happens is we become so skeptical because of our relationship with them that we think everybody's going to do this. Everybody's going to hurt us. We can't trust other people. We can't even trust our own judgment. So we start to lose hope. And one of the things I was watching kind of, for a while, for a few weeks now, and I kind of stopped last week, but there are a couple of channels I've watched on MGTOW, men going their own way. And I don't think it's the MGTOWs generally. I think it's, they call themselves mainly the red pill men. And I think they're red pill women, by the way. They just don't call themselves that. So people who feel like, oh, I know what the opposite sex is like. I know that they're always like this. And they categorize and stereotype, right? They'll say all women are users or all men are abusers. And that's the skepticism that comes in and robs us of hope. So when I watch those channels, at first I think, wow, they give some good advice. I'll tell you that. There is some good solid advice on those channels because they encourage you to be careful, first of all, right, of users and abusers. They encourage you to not jump into a relationship, right away, get married right away, move in together right away, which narcissists want to do. So that's good solid advice. But they also give you bad advice, which is they keep you on the skeptical scale. They keep you feeling skeptical about people around you. And at first, it feels good because, by the way, isolation is a defensive move. So when you're skeptical of people, you start to isolate yourself. You start to back away, and you start to feel better because you're backing away from traumatic things that caused trauma in your life, maybe relationships, right? And you're really shy now. You're really triggered by relationships because you feel scared to start a new relationship. So there, these channels telling you to be very skeptical of the opposite sex and defend yourself, defend, build these walls, and never give them an inch. Don't let them see your vulnerability. Don't let them know who you are. All this stuff. At first, it feels good because it feels like it's making you stronger. It gives you some strength because you feel like, I'm building this fortress now, and I'm feeling stronger because now I'm not going to allow someone to penetrate this fortress and get me again, right? So I think that's why the message is so appealing to people. But what that ends up doing is it isolates you. And I'll talk some more about how isolation also robs your hope. When you're isolated, you're not obviously feeling any hopeful, feeling any hope at all about relationships. In fact, you're trying to remove yourself from relationships because you're so angry, or you're so what is it, just skeptical and negative towards relationships, all relationships now, right? And some of these channels, they talk about never ever getting into long-term relationships. They only see the pitfalls, and they'll tell you all the pitfalls of the long-term relationships. They don't talk about the benefits of the long-term relationships other than to raise children. That's all I've heard. It's like you'll have children and you want to create somewhat of a family life or raising children, and they see that's the only reason to have a long-term relationship, which they are so wrong about. Because in a long-term relationship, that's where you find somebody who has your back. That's where you find somebody who's going to stick it out with you, life, all the ups and downs till the end. And that's amazing. It really is. Uh, I can't tell you how blessed I feel to know that I have a man who has my back, who I trust with absolutely everything. And those channels, they tell you don't trust anybody because obviously when you trusted somebody, they hurt you. And now let me tell you, I've been hurt. I've trusted people and they have hurt me. They have backstabbed me. I've been hurt romantically. I've been hurt through friendships, and I've been hurt through family. So I know, and through coworkers, by the way, as well. So I know what it is to trust somebody and to be hurt by them. And even if you don't trust them, by the way, toxic people are going to hurt you. So you don't even have to trust them to be hurt by them. The answer here, you guys, is to build trust with safe people. And so you have to learn how to identify who is a safe person. That's a big thing, right? So the real key here is If you isolate yourself, if you pull back, if you stop bonding with people, you're not going to learn how to spot safe people. You're not going to learn what it is to be in a healthy relationship and what that looks like. And part of, I understand you don't automatically know these things. So you go in slowly and you try things slowly. You build relationship with each person and you watch whether they're consistent or not. That's a huge thing because a lot of people are not consistent. They're not going to show you that they're stable or mature. Maybe they're not mature enough to handle a healthy relationship. So your relationship with them is going to have to be somewhat stunted. Well, you guys, let me see what you've been writing. There's a lot going on here. Up a bit. Chris says, oh wait, hold on. I already read that. John says, wandering eye, like you said before. Yes, they have a wandering eye because they're not satisfied. They're always looking for the next thing, something that'll give them a thrill. And they're not thrilled by the familiar. They want something completely new or something they hadn't had in a while. Chris says, oh, no kidding. I am a widow. And of course, people automatically think we are after their husbands. And I am far from that. He is coming after me. Oh, yep, yep. C. Thomas, good to see you. C says, my ex-narc tries the same thing. Think he cares, checks on me, and then he asked for money. I knew the hoovering wasn't him caring. Exactly. And they give you breadcrumbs too, right? They give you these little, hey, just thinking about you text. And you think, oh, that's so nice because nobody else is sending me that text, right? So don't be tempted though. It's a lie. It's a trap. It's bait that they're using to try to hook you. So be very careful of that. John says, what baffles me is I have one son who is grown and she has 4 kids and the guy she's dating has 3 kids and a dog and 2 exes that constantly pursue him. I'm like, she traded up for more drama. Yes, she absolutely did. Things are crazy there. So, oh my gosh, I hate to use this term, but on those channels, those red pill channels, they call it monkey branching, where you grab onto the next bar or the next branch. You know how you go across those bars, the monkey bars at, I don't know, gosh, this is a long time ago, but you grab onto the next bar before you let go of the last bar, right? Same thing with a branch. You grab onto the next branch before you let go of the last branch, and that's monkey branching. People will do this. Those red pill channels, they talk about women doing this. But by the way, men do this too. They will make sure that they set up new supply or reconnect with old supply before they leave their current supply. So what she might be doing, John, right now is preparing to leave that current supply and going back to old supply because maybe she's not able to create new supply right now or connections with new supply. She's unable to catch new supply. So she's going back to you. So, and it's not a negative thing on you. It's that she sees you as better than them. So take that as a compliment, I guess. Feel good about yourself, but move on. Do not get pulled into that. She's going to stay with you until she finds somebody else, right? Until somebody else makes it her life more exciting. So yeah, I really highly recommend that you just block her because no good is going to come from this. People who monkey branch are people who cannot stand on their own. They're not healthy. They're not mature. They're not emotionally stable. So what are they going to do? They're going to bring all this crazy into your world where they're swirling out of control emotionally and financially and psychologically. They're just going to pull you into their crazy town. Yeah. John says, and you're right. She's known me for 4 years and knew this guy 3 months and moved him right in. Mind you, she was living with her ex who she kicked out right before Christmas. Yep. That's the monkey branching that I've heard about. It's like they're never alone. They don't believe in just working on themselves. And that's one of the good things I like about these Red Pill or MGTOW channels is they talk about working on yourself. And I recommend it to women too, really, to watch this because right now I don't think women have a channel that does this for them. Or maybe there is something out there. I just haven't really Googled it or looked for it. But for men and women, it is so important that you spend this time. It's not in isolation. I don't want to call it isolation, but it is a time where you introspect, where you work on yourself for a while, where you improve yourself emotionally. You know, you gain, you learn, you read, you watch these videos, you learn from those who can teach you how to mature emotionally. Get what you need emotionally. Build up your confidence, your self confidence. Build up your awareness of people around you so you can identify safe or unsafe people. So you do that. And here's the awesome thing. Oh my gosh, this really goes into so then what do you do once you lose hope? You keep moving or you start moving. And that's what I like about these channels is they talk about building up your career, building up your finances, getting out of debt. Like that's movement. That's movement in a positive direction and it builds you up. You know, you'd be surprised how good you feel when you get rid of a car loan, when you get rid of a credit card debt, when you pay off whatever you've got a boat loan. I don't know what you might have, but whatever you might have, you loaned or you borrowed money from somebody, you finally pay them off. Once you do that, it's like freedom. It releases you. It makes you feel so much stronger. So continue doing that. Build up your finances. Start saving once you pay off your debts, then start building up your savings. You're going to start feeling like, wow, I can go out and spend money on myself once in a while and not feel burdened, not knowing that I'm not going to have to come home after my vacation to this pile of debt, right? You knowing that I paid for this vacation in cash or ahead of time, and everything I do on this vacation is just bonus, right? It's just icing on the cake. If I go to the beach now, I can also rent a boat and go off on an expedition, or I can go kayaking, or I can rent a skidoo, I guess that's what it's called. You know, I can do these wine tours. I can go stay at a nice, bed and breakfast and enjoy, you just, the world opens up to you. And that's what I really appreciate about some of these channels where they do encourage that. And that's a good thing. So that's one of the ways that you do build hope is you keep moving. So you could be moving emotionally, building yourself up, learning it. How do you say it? You can pamper yourself, learning to appreciate yourself, learning what your strengths are. Okay, that's great. You can you can be moving by building yourself up financially, getting rid of debt, building your finances, building up your career, learning more for your career, right? Building your skills there, getting on a track with your manager on a career track that's going to provide promotions and raises, right? You're going to feel so great. Another thing you could do, to give you hope again, is start challenging yourself. Growing intellectually. Like sign up for a course, learn a new language. And by the way, that's what I'm doing. I'm learning 2 languages right now at the same time, and it's kind of exciting. One I know pretty well. I'm probably almost an intermediate, and the other one I'm a total beginner. So it's kind of exciting for me to learn new vocabulary. And there are so many things out there now that you can do even while you sleep. You listen to motivational speakers, just if you have a hard time sleeping, sometimes I do. So what I end up doing is I watch crime shows, which, by the way, is not the best thing to watch as you fall asleep, because then you have these like negative things in your head while you're sleeping, in your unconscious. It's building. So it's better that you listen to either comedians, like that's what I really highly recommend, or right now what I'm doing is I listen to the foreign languages that I'm learning. So it's really cool. I fall asleep listening to lessons in the foreign languages. And on YouTube, they have these channels where it's like, learn this while you sleep. I'm like, okay, let me give that a try. And I've only been doing it, I guess, for a few days now, watching these videos or listening to them. It's been really good. And it's given me really good sleep too, by the way. Very, very solid, calm, anxious free sleep. So I just want to encourage you towards that. That builds hope as well. When you feel like you're growing, you're moving forward, you're not stagnant, you're not wallowing in the pit of despair that the narcissist has left you in, it's great. All right, you guys, I want to catch up on some more of these comments. Chris says, yes, I was always an introvert, but now it's worse than ever. Yeah, because once we've been abused or hurt or damaged by the narcissist, we want to pull in. Especially when you are already an introvert. I'm also an introvert. I can reach out to people, but I notice that when I pull in, for a while it feels good, but then I do get lonely. I do start to feel like, the world, life is passing me by, and that starts to become depressing because that there's more to life than sitting in your house. Oh my gosh. So there was a viewer who wrote to me and said that if I don't remember if it was a man or a woman, but they said if they could just lock themselves up in their house and never come out again, they would be content. That's how injured they felt by their narcissistic ex, that they just didn't want to deal with people ever again. And I understand it's okay to do that for a while because you need to heal, right? You need to work on yourself. You can't just throw yourself back out there. Um, but it's so important to take little steps out, though. It's so important to start with maybe a small book club, a coffee group that meets once a month, start somewhere, even if it's, you may want to start somewhere that somebody where one of your friends is, willing to come along with you and join you for, say, a wine club meeting, once a month type of thing. Or it might even be good to go out and know nobody, not knowing anybody in this group. So they're all fresh, they're all new. Nobody knows you. You're not vulnerable to any of them. And you slowly build a relationship, each time you meet up. So, yeah. Guys, let me see. Dangerous Conversations. Good to see you. Good morning. Says they make it so hard to trust. Yes, right? Because they had destroyed our trust with them. But then we have to not project that onto everybody else. Some of those, I was talking about those red pill channels. They talk about pretty much not trusting anybody anymore, except for your the same sex. They're talking about the opposite sex. You don't trust the opposite sex anymore, whatever your partner's sex is, right? And you only trust the sex that's never hurt you, the ones that you're never romantic with. And that's a lie because women know that they can't trust some women. Men know that they can't trust some men. So to say that you can only trust your same sex and you have to distrust the opposite sex is also completely wrong. It's safe people and unsafe people. They come in both sexes. We have to be able to identify that. So you guys, okay, let me see here. C. Thomas says, yes, after ex-narc, I became isolated and cautious of other relationships, but realized it's not the right thing to do. Yeah, exactly, right? When we isolate ourselves, what we end up doing is we sabotage our ability to set boundaries. We have no boundaries. Or actually, the one boundary we have is a fortress. We build this fortress and we're like, hey, there's my boundary. Nobody comes in, nobody goes out. But what happens there is we also don't let good things in and we don't let bad things out of us. So we have to be so careful to not isolate ourselves in that way, because we do tend to keep it inside, the negative, the mistrust, the skepticism, the darkness, the hopelessness. We keep that inside. And what good is that? That's going to just that's going to harm us even more, you guys. Oh, Todd, good to see you. Let me see. Todd says sounds a lot like next my next no narcissistic ex, John. Yeah. So C. Thomas says, yes, safe people is the key. I can pick up on toxicity really quick after experience with ex-narc. Is that true? So that's kind of, another viewer had written in and said that she had spent, I think, 26 years with her ex, or maybe it was longer. I can't remember. But she said that she was so devastated when he left. But when her friend talked to her and said, look, you feel like she was saying, I wasted all those years. And her friend's like, you know what? You didn't just waste those years. You learn from those years. And that's why we learn actually to identify toxic people. And in a way, we're better off, because I look at people now and who have never been used or abused by a toxic person. And at first I was kind of like envious of that. I was like, gee, you get to be oblivious to this pain and go about happy go lucky and, unburdened. But in reality, what happens is they trust everybody. They don't know that there are dangerous people out there, or they know, but they just don't think it will ever happen to them. So they go about not being able to identify who is safe and who is unsafe. And here we're able now from this point on, like the rest of our life can be amazing. Like we can actually identify traps and not fall into them. And the trap that we did fall into didn't destroy us. So look at that. That's super. That's incredible. That's a huge blessing to us. Yeah. So dangerous conversations. Good to see you. He says, when you learn about NPD, it's like your eyes are opened and you see toxic people. So true. It's so true. Yeah. You can recognize how, oh my gosh. I'm not a therapist. I've read a lot of books on therapy or psychology, actually, just because I'm interested in the human mind and how it works. And I've always been interested in that. But people will say, oh, you have to have a therapist degree or a psychologist degree to understand people. It's like, actually, you have to be an observer to understand people. Somebody else I was watching recently, who's a psychologist, I believe, said that psychologists and therapists are actually really good observers. That's what makes them good psychologists and therapists. So some people are just simply very good observers, and they take the time to stop and see. And I think we all have learned to do that, right? Because of what has happened to us. It made us stop, take a step back and examine, observe, right? We start, first of all, observing the narcissist, and we go, what the heck kind of behavior is that? And it's so perplexing that we want to understand, right? We dig a little deeper, and that makes us better observers and learners. Anyway, so I think that gives us an edge. It's really good. Todd B says the next narcissistic ex left me for a guy who complains publicly about his methadone heroin addiction. Wow. This guy has a very weird recent past. I was married together 4 years. Kicked me out because I caught her. Oh my gosh. Yeah, the narcissist is so weird. They will attach to anybody, which is so crazy. They don't know how to identify safe people, by the way. They target people that they can manipulate, period. Just people they can manipulate. They don't have to be safe people. They don't have to be stable people. It's just anybody that they can manipulate, that they can lie to, and who will believe them. That's who they will attract. It's very, very creepy. And now that we know, though, we can see the manipulation coming a mile away. And that's why we are better off than somebody who's never been hurt, because those people, if they should run into that narcissist later on in life, or when they're really needy, or when they are in, the pit, when they have fallen and they need somebody to help them up, and a narcissist is the one that helps them up, they're going to be ruined. Yeah, I I'm just glad that that's behind us. That's the beauty of this, is the blessing of it is that it's behind us now. It's not in front of us anymore. And we can prevent what we see in front of us. Like a minefield, we can see the mines. Todd says, I'm sorry, yeah, says sneaking off to see the new supply. Wow. Wildbird, good to see you. Wildbird says, that's funny. I see toxic people. Yeah. Yeah, I know you're talking about The Sixth Sense. Was The Sixth Sense? I can't remember. Yeah, that was the movie, The Sixth Sense. Wildbird says, wow, Todd, be that sad. Yeah. John says, that's crazy. She wrote me no more than a month ago saying he can't pay his share of the bills. Oh, yes. You see, she's getting ready to leave. She's getting ready to discard him, and she's checking to see if you are willing to take her back. She's not saying that right now. She's she's feeling you out. She says, because he pays so much on child support, but they go and buy a boat. Oh my gosh. Yep. Yep. C. Thomas says, my sister too. As soon as she starts the toxic conversation, I end the conversation. And then she gets furious. Have to limit toxicity. It's draining. Yeah. C. Thomas says, she will confide in you for sympathy, a way to get your guards down to creep back in. Their new supplies don't last too long. Yep. Jihad says, what languages are you learning? Okay, I'm learning French and Spanish. But here's the thing. You have to set goals. I really haven't set a goal other than every day. Every day I have to spend a few minutes on it. And at some point, I have to listen to it for my subconscious. So as I'm falling asleep, or right when I wake up, when I'm still a little bit groggy, I'll turn on the learn while you sleep versions of these languages. So it's been good. After French and Spanish, I want to learn Italian. I'd like to learn Arabic, and I'd like to learn Japanese. So I mean, that's a lot, right? A lot of languages. And most of my life, I've been very shy and scared of languages. So I don't want to be that anymore. I want to face this fear. I want to face the embarrassment of speaking in a foreign language and making mistakes. So if I can overcome that, I think I'm just going to feel so much better and stronger about myself. So that's how I'm challenging myself right now. Let me see, you guys, where we are. C. Thomas says, I would love to learn French. Yeah. Lorraine says, hi, Lorraine, by the way. Good to see you here. Says, I was out of debt until I helped my roommate out, and she screwed me up. I am tired of people taking advantage of me. I won't be helping anyone outside my children. Yes. Those healthy boundaries allow you to say no to people who beg and cry. Oh my gosh. I just watched this video. So horrible, of this crime show where this woman, okay, maybe I won't talk about that because I want this video to not be limited by YouTube. When I talk about crime shows, I don't like that. But essentially, they will beg criminal minds, destructive people, toxic people. They don't care that they destroy you. They don't care that they pull you into their criminal activity. And if it's not criminal activity, they don't care that they pull you into their destructive activity. It's self-destructive to them because, for instance, they don't stay out of debt. They're always in debt. They overspend. They'll pull you into that. They don't care. They don't care if they use up your savings. They don't care if they put you in debt trying to help them, right? So having healthy boundaries, learning how to see and spot safe people and unsafe people will help you to say no. to people who are begging you for help. Please help me. It's like, I'm sorry, I can't. This is something I think that, you're going to ask people who are your family. You're going to have to, get a second job. You have to, so just put it back on them. It's their responsibility. Corinne, good morning. Good to see you. Says, says good morning, everyone. Lorraine says, I spoke French until I went into grade 1. I had to learn English and lost my French. Oh, so you know what? That probably would be a really good language to go to start with, because you will probably find that you retained some of it. Yeah. C. Thomas says, Lorraine, yes, be careful of who you help. Most people are users. I'll do the same, and they don't care. Your children only. Lorraine says, I want to learn tarot cards so I don't have to pay big money like some do. I don't trust a lot of people. They screw me every time. Yeah. Dangerous Conversation says, I learned tarot cards once. I kept getting the death card. I'm still alive. Yeah, I kind of don't believe in the tarot cards, you guys, but but sometimes it's interesting, right? It's always interesting to look at things like that and horoscopes. You always go, oh, that'd be nice, especially the good horoscopes, right? The good tarot cards, they're encouraging. Wildbird says the death card just means something coming to an end, not necessarily literal death. Oh, okay, didn't know that. Lorraine says, I am very introvert. I spend most of my time on my own. All my friends left me years ago, and my birth family don't ever talk to me. I only have my children. And you're so blessed that you have children. So enjoy them, build that relationship with them. For the sake of your children, learn how to have healthy relationship. Especially when they become adults, then you become more like friends than you are mother or parent and child. You become really good friends if you build healthy relationships with your children. It's amazing. Todd says narcs observe and stalk you. Yeah, they do, but you know what? They're not that smart. They make mistakes. It's because they're so bold to think that you can't see their lies. It's like the emperor with no clothes, or not quite that. It's like they think they're invisible. You remember that when kids thought that they were invisible, and they'll stand right in front of you and they're like, "Oh, you can't see me because I've got my invisibility cloak on." And you're standing there going, I can see you very clearly. In fact, I can see that you have a chocolate stain on your face, you know? But narcissists think that they are such magicians that you can't see their magic that they're doing. It's so crazy. Dangerous Conversation says, hope you can tell my YouTube handle doesn't mean I'm not a safe person. Yeah. Dangerous Conversations also says, I just learned something new. Good. They are like chameleons with bad intentions. Oh. Lorraine says, I had to deactivate my Facebook so no one can hurt me. I have never hurt anyone in my life. Wow. Yeah. I know I've hurt people in my life, not intentionally. It's just stupid and immature. So that's great. But also be careful that, that's great that if you've never hurt anyone in your life. And deactivating Facebook is probably a really good idea. Jen says, I like your screen name, Dangerous Conversations. So good morning, Jen. Good to see you here, by the way. Says, that bowl of blueberries looks delicious. Oh, they are actually. They're quite sweet. And like not over sweet and mushy, but just perfect. They're like, Gamer Christina, good to see you and good morning to you. Says, I love your words. Thank you so much. Thank you, Christina. I appreciate that. Dangerous Conversation says, just remember being discarded or abused doesn't mean you are shameful. Don't internalize it. Don't believe that lie that tells you you're bad. Absolutely. I absolutely agree with that. Wildbear says, I have learned more and gotten more healing from YouTube videos on narcs than the shrinks I saw. Exactly. I've heard people, not a lot of people, but once in a while, people will act as if we have nothing to share. We have nothing to learn from each other. I'm like, no, we have so much to share, so much to learn from each other because we've gone through it. Some of these therapists have not gone through it. Some of them have not even been trained. A lot of them have not even been trained, excuse me, on narcissistic personality disorder. Sorry, guys, I had to get a drink of water. So, yeah. And so they don't know and they don't understand. So when I do refer friends or somebody to get therapy, I do encourage them to find somebody who has had training or experience with narcissistic personality disorder. Because if they haven't, the advice that they're going to give you is logical, rational steps that would work with normal people. But it just doesn't work with narcissists. It's so crazy. Lorraine says it's hard to learn different languages when you have a learning disability. Oh, yeah. You know, and some people, you just learn anyway. Don't accept that disability. Don't internalize that. Don't label yourself. That's what I would encourage you to do. Dangerous Conversation says, okay, we need to start Escape from Crazytown French Club or Arabic, etc. Oh my gosh, that would be so awesome. Oh, maybe. Okay, maybe I can do a live stream of, hey, we're doing French French Day. Oh my gosh, that would be so crazy. Jihad says the key is to stay consistent and putting in effort. That goes for everything. Yeah, we're talking about how to find hope again. Is keep putting one foot in front of the other. Keep going. Some people are like, oh, but you have to rest. You have to take a break. You have to stop doing. And I understand that because sometimes we distract ourselves with too much doing and not enough healing, right? Not enough stopping to introspect or to examine. I get that. Do that, but also don't stay stagnant because stagnant water goes bad, right? No matter how pure and clean and whatever the water is, stagnant water just isn't great. You need aeration, you need replenishment, you need new minerals. Anyway, it's just, yeah. So, get my answers. Oh, I don't know what this is. Lorraine says I have a Pendium I use to get my answers. It works great. Oh, okay. C. Thomas says the narcs have the same pattern that it's easy to figure. Easy to figure them out. Yep. Hey, so good morning, Kingman. After God's Heart Ministries says narcs are more dangerous than a person with a loaded gun. Yeah, because they come in and we think that they're safe and we allow them in very deeply. A person coming at you with a loaded gun, you're like, right away to try to get away. So let me go down a bit, you guys. Oh, I'm keeping pretty good with you guys this time. Kingdom Women says toxic people who wake up every day with the intent to kill, steal, and destroy, they are of their father, the devil. Wow. It's in the Bible. We were warned ahead of time. Know the red flags. Lorraine says, I met a guy the other night when my son and I went out to eat. We talked. Just before he went back inside the restaurant, he said, I was adorable. It hit my heart. Yes, those are wonderful, right? Take compliments for what they are. They feel good. Accept them. See yourself this way. I encourage that. Just don't fall for flattery. Like, don't, as in, give the person who's giving you the compliment a lot of credit. Like, it's really nice that they did that and you appreciate that. But don't suddenly, oh, here are the keys to my car, have everything in my life. Yeah, that's where narcissists will use flattery to try to build relationship. Don't ever build relationship on flattery. But you can believe in yourself and you can feel encouraged and take that compliment and feel good about yourself. And that's great. And believe it for yourself and know that for yourself, learn, accept it. So in that way, that so awesome when we get compliments like that. It's very sweet. Kingdom Women says, our only hope is in getting out and staying out of these deadly toxic relationships that are set up to destroy you at all cost. Yes, we absolutely want to stay out of them. So we need to learn how to identify new ones, right? New toxic people coming into our life. And it's so good. Oh my gosh. I got to say, it's so good once you are able to see this. I see now the possibilities of safe people. You know, when people come into my life and I feel good about them. I allow them in a little at a time, and I get to know them. And it's not like I'm boarding up myself or anything like that. I'm still myself. I have a great time with everybody, but I don't feel obligated to share with them my most inner, thoughts or feelings, all my opinions on everything, I just want to enjoy their company, get to know them, enjoy them as a person, learn who they are. This is great, and interact with them, our common humor, sense of humor or something, or if we're learning the same things, it's really awesome. Uh, it's really amazing when you start to see the possibilities of safe relationships because you start building a better foundation than the ones you used to build. I think that I used to have unsafe relationships because I just automatically gave people the benefit of the doubt. I automatically started with, I trust them unless they give me a reason not to trust them. And that is not the best way to go forward, by the way. You trust them with a little. That's the way to go for it. You trust them with very, very little because they have to earn the bigger trust. See you guys. Jen says, as long as they are real. Yeah. C. Thomas says, you have to heal and gain a lot of new knowledge and self care. Yeah, that's right. Kingdom Women says, don't ever build a relationship on flattery. Yes. But that's how, the narcissist gets in so often is they use flattery. And, some people catch it right away. Some people are not immediately moved by flattery. They're just like, okay, whatever. But some people are so starved for attention or affirmation or just somebody to notice them. And the narcissist comes in and tells them all these beautiful things about them. You're just the most amazing person I've ever met. I've never met anybody like you. I can see a future with you. I can see, I want, you're the only person I ever wanted to have children with. These are all flattery, by the way. What you have to watch for is, this is nice that they're saying this to you. And it's so deep what they say. You're my soulmate. I've never felt a soul connection with another person. I mean, it goes beyond the kind of flattery like, oh, nice dress or good haircut, It's the kind of flattery that our hearts long to hear. So when we have gone through this, when we have had these relationships, we can spot it. When people start talking to us like that, we can spot right away whether the actions have been there to support this. We can see that this person has been there all this time and built a relationship of trust and kindness and genuineness. And we can see that how they treat other people, right? And that we can see that what they say, they do. Their word means something. We can also see that they treat people who can't do anything for them. They treat them well. They don't just use people. So when you see that, and then that person tells you the things they see in you and how much they love you, like my husband and I, when we talk to each other, that's how I know, like, wow, he sees these things in me, and I don't need that from other people. It's satisfying to me to have from just one person. A narcissist needs to hear this type of flattery from multiple people because they don't really even believe or like the person that they're with. They don't really have that high view or esteem of the person they're with. So even if the person that they're with tells them, "You're my soulmate. I love you. I would die for you. I would, you're the only person I want to have children with." It it's not enough for the narcissist. Oh, so crazy. So crazy. Well, you guys, our hour is almost up. Well, I guess it's up. But I'm going to give you guys a few minutes to wrap up some of your conversations. And I want to read a few of your comments as well as we wrap up. Lorraine says, I was with a deaf guy. I learned the sign language, but he was abusive to me and I finally left him. Yes, people with disabilities are people, they have their toxicity, they're toxic people, come in all shapes, sizes, races, genders. Oh my goodness, right? Yeah. And yeah. I knew a deaf person who was very toxic to his wife, and I could see it in his children too. He was just a very negative person, and I don't know, part of it is his wounding for being deaf. He just gave up that he had very low self-esteem, but that's how narcissists work too, is they start off with very low self-esteem, and that's why they attack and are so abusive. Kingdom Women says, narcs know how to manipulate you and seduce you with sweet nothings and fake broken promises. Yep. JW, good to see you. Oh, I'm so sorry. JW says, I can't stop crying. I broke no contact several times the past few weeks. Oh, I'm so sorry, JW. Yeah, that's why when we break no contact, it hurts us more. We think, we want to give them a chance. We're trying to be hopeful, but that is a big one. You want to be hopeful, but you also want to be wise. And hope is not going to be with the narcissist. Hope is going to grow outside and away from the narcissist. As long as we are tethered to the narcissist, our sense of trust, our sense of hope, our sense of growth, maturity, strength, all of that gets crushed. So if you want to find real hope, you have to go no contact. You have to break away from the narcissist. And that breaking away feels devastating, feels incredibly painful. It's like you're cutting off an arm, right? But it's to save the rest of your body. And by the way, it's not cutting off an arm, it's cutting off cancer. That's what you're doing. You're cutting out a cancer that's growing on you, a narcissist. And when you cut that out, when you clean out a wound, it's really painful, like a big, deep, horrible wound. I've had to do this for little kids, and I felt so bad. They'll ride their bikes or skateboards or whatever, and they'll fall on the asphalt, right, on the concrete. And you see their leg all scraped up or their arm all scraped up. And inside of the scrape are these little rocks and bits of dirt and crud and leaves. And, so you see it jammed into their wound. And you're like, oh my gosh, now this is a little kid and you have to clean out that wound. And oh my gosh, that kid is going to be so painful and you feel bad for the kid. But if you don't clean that wound out well, if you don't get out all those little pebbles and all that little dirt and bits of leaves and whatever is on the ground, and even puddles, right? If they had fallen into a nasty, disgusting puddle, you have to rinse all that nastiness off of their wound. And it's going to hurt. But if you don't do it, what would happen is they would lose that limb. They actually would lose that arm or that leg. And it's so much better to suffer the pain of cutting out the narcissist, cleaning out that wound, right? Getting rid of that cancer, than it is to lose your whole self, your whole body, your life, your mind. So JW, I'm so sorry. I'm with you. I know what it's like to be crying like that. Allow yourself to cry. And then watch a comedian. I have Dry Bar Comedy, I think, is a channel I recommend all the time. It's awesome. Just watch, I know you're crying, but sometimes what helps lift me out of that crying is comedy. Actually, all the time. That helps me, by the way. I love it. These comedians use clean jokes, which I like, because I don't really like dark, ugly jokes. I like clean jokes. Because yeah, why bring more darkness into your life? We just don't need that. Oh my gosh. Jen says, "Did you have a dog together, JW?" Oh. JW says, "I'm so tired of being sad and broken. Back and forth to child support court hurts." Oh, yeah. If you have to share a child, and you have to go back and forth, that does hurt. You have to break out all contact except for that time with them. And if you can, bring a parent, a sibling, a friend with you. JW says, "No, we have a baby, not a dog together." Jen says, "Is that why you broke no contact?" Okay. Kingdom Woman says, "Empaths are known to give people the benefit of the doubt. This is where we go wrong." Yes. And by the way, we don't have to give people the benefit of the doubt. I know people are like, "Oh, give them the benefit." No, we actually are not obligated to do that. I don't know why our world, our culture had taught us that. It's just smarter to like, you don't want to come off judging people, right? Like being critical. I think that was the point of giving people the benefit of the doubt, is not to judge them and criticize them and stereotype them without anything, without evidence. Now, we don't want to do that, but we're also not obligated to trust them, to think that everything is great with them, to get into a car with a stranger, for instance, right? We are not obligated to give anybody that kind of benefit of the doubt. If your body is doubting, if your body is sending red flags and alarms all through your head and you're feeling cringy around them, get the heck away. It's okay to do that. Just go, "Nope, I don't need to," you can be polite and say, greet or whatever and acknowledge that they're there, but then move on. Go do something else. You don't have to stick around. Yeah. So, you guys, I'm so glad that you were able to join us. Let me see. C. Thomas says, "Yes, I trusted everyone until I got hurt, but learned the hard way." Yeah. Lorraine says, "Lots of healing. iTunes, that helps." Jen says, "Maybe look at some YouTube videos on the subject." JW says, "He rejected me after I became pregnant." Ah, I'm so sorry about that. So sorry. Yes, but I would encourage you to try to get child support, work on yourself, like I've been encouraging people to do here. Really, you're going to be so empowered if you work on yourself, work on your self esteem, work on your emotional health, start building safe relationships. A book I've been reading, and I'll put it in my descriptions here, is Safe People. It's really awesome. It gets you to think about it's about safe people and unsafe people. It's by Cloud and Townsend, Henry Cloud and John Townsend. They're both psychologists, PhDs, right? So Dr. Cloud, Dr. Townsend wrote this book called Safe People. I highly recommend it. You can also find it on my website, escapefromcrazytown.com. In the shop menu, it takes you straight to Amazon, and I have an affiliated link with Amazon. Since I recommend a book, they may give me a finder's fee or a recommendation fee or something like that, which is nice. But I so highly recommend that for you guys. It will help you grow emotionally. It'll help you build a better emotional foundation, because you want to be able to identify unsafe people from safe people, and you want to be able to let safe people in and keep unsafe people out, and you want to know how to do that with boundaries. And Cloud and Townsend wrote the boundaries books. Yes, so they're great. Throughout this book on safe people, they talk about boundaries and what kind of boundaries to set too. So that's really good. And they talk about the things that draw unsafe people to us. Like, they do actually have a chapter on that. What about you draws unsafe people to you? So those are really good things to consider. JW, I would really highly suggest that for you. You guys, I think that I better let you go. I know you guys are so awesome. I love that you're having all these conversations. I'm going to give you a second here. Oh, somebody named Julia Tamalo. Good morning. I'm missing so many. Gosh, you guys, we could probably have like a 2-hour thing sometime. You guys are coming on here. This is so, so awesome. Love you guys. I think you're wonderful people. I think that you're completely capable and strong. And the fact that you survived and that you're reaching out on channels like this, that you're reaching out on live streams, that shows that you have perseverance, you have strength, you have hope, you have something inside of you that wants to live, right? And live a full life. And this is what I hope for you. Blessings to you. I wish you so much joy and so much hope, so much healing, and keep on writing to me. I do check the comments at least weekly, a few times a week. I do check comments on my videos, so you write to me. I will hopefully be able to see you there. And God bless you. I wish you so well. Happy 4th of July. Have a great time tonight. Enjoy the fireworks. Go see them. Even if you go see them alone, go see them. Go have a good time. I'll be there with you in spirit. So blessings to you, and I will see you soon.